Still have the little spinning wheel that tells me my video is loading, but I have a feeling it's not loading. I have a feeling it's actually playing. But, well, okay, it stopped. All right, so now I know it's on, and I'll just sit here and drivel. Stellar sent me a piece of cake. Thank you. I like cake. I like cake. And yeah, so maybe if I natter for a couple of minutes, people will show up. Um, yeah, I probably took you off guard by actually being here at 3 o'clock. So once again, I have an old life drawing. It's an old drawing of a young girl, and I'm going to try to do some stuff with it. You can see that I've already done some things. I invented a little throne for her to be sitting on, and I gave her a cat, which wasn't there. The cat looks very happy. He's almost comical looking. I don't know if we can have that. But anyway, we'll do some things to this here. Do some stuff and some things. She did have her arm up over the back of something. And so yeah, I mean that's got to get turned into a. It's going to get turned into a throne, a piece of furniture of some sort. So I'm going to start drawing some things. I'm not real convinced of the functionality of what I've designed so far. Instead of foot resting on something, footstool or something. Some thrones actually have like a little shelf at the bottom. I don't know if this quite works the way her feet already are, without changing her feet in order to accommodate something that I designed. And that's pointless. I don't want to do that. So I guess I'll just give her a footstool. What I mean is if I had drawn some little shelf into that throne just to accommodate that foot, then it would be sticking out to where that foot couldn't be in that spot. Then I'd move her body, and there's no reason to do that. So, yeah, little footstool. I made a footstool in shop class when I was a teenager. I'll ever using that. I don't know where it is. What became of it? We all made the same thing. Everybody in class made the same little footstool. But there was a definite difference in quality between one and another. Barton says there's no audio. That's a curious thing. Let's see. The only thing I have that I can adjust is my own speaker, which has nothing to do with the audio. Maybe I'm just not talking loud enough. Stellar, is there any audio? Evan says, I made a footstool in shop class too. It looked a lot like yours. Yes, we kind of. Okay, Stellar says she can have audio. Evan says he can hear me. Sharing more. It's quiet, but it's there. Okay, I'm just not talking loud enough. I'm sorry. All right. Yes. Mr. Rowley. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. Mr. Rowley was our shop teacher. Evan, were you and I in the same shop? Were we in the have shop class together, or were it different periods? I don't remember. Mr. Rowley was not a fan of me at all. he thought my name was Damn It, and he never spoke my name without saying Damn It first. Damn it, Gil. But we did make a couple really cool little things. Evan says he doesn't think we were in the same class. Yeah, I don't remember that we were. Um, a very dim memory. When we made these footstools, the top of this was cut from one big plank of wood, very long, and it was might have been a foot, might have been 14 inches, I don't recall, but they were all exactly the same size. And he had the radial arm saw, okay, which has a big exposed blade and it cuts like that. And he said this one I won't have you do. I'll have you see how I do it, but I won't have you do it. So he just laid the board on the shelf and he went zing, and he scooched the board over and went zing, would scooch the board and whizzing, and he didn't measure, didn't do anything, and they were all exactly the same size, and he did them really fast, and I was pretty impressed by that. And decades later, um, I was somewhere and there was a teenage kid going to our junior high school, and I said, "Do you have uh, shop class with Mr. Rowley?" And he said, "Yeah, he cut his thumb off today." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, he said we were going to make these footstools, and he had this board, and there's this particular length, and he was just cutting, 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 and zip, and he cut his thumb clean off." Oh God. Uh, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword, I guess is the lesson there. If there is one, which there needn't be one. But yeah, he'd done that. I was so impressed that he'd done that every year for so long, and then one day I got him. So I'm not buying the perspective that I did here with the arms of the chair, and that's sad because her hand really is right there. But the arm of the chair should be more like here ish. Um, if her leg wasn't in the way, you would see a lot of this chair arm going back, and yeah, and then the back of the throne apparently is very wide. Just roll with it, okay? Just roll with it. So it's there. It's more like that, and then but that does not work because we have to have this. We have to have this all the way up because we can't see the top of the arm of the chair. So I have to raise that up, which gives me a nice little decorative thingy right here. So we're doing a decorative thingy like we did in woodshop. And we're going to cut this out, bevel it like so. Decorative thingies. It's your vocabulary word for the day. And there's a iron ring or bronze, probably bronze ring right here for uh, for chaining up your pets. So I don't know. The chain goes around the back there. She's got a crocodile or something back there behind the chair. That sounds hazardous. And oh, there's something I'm dissatisfied about with the cat, but I'm not sure I'm even going to go there in this episode. Um, so let me check my place. So I've got a costume here that I used previously, and I'm going to use it again. This model was kind of funny. Um, she looked very young, and it worried me. I asked her uh, how old she was because I was just afraid that maybe the art director had forgotten to ask or something. She just looked so young. And as she smiled, she said, "I'm 18 yesterday," and apparently she had been wanting to model for life drawing class forever, and had you know had arranged. My birthday is on Friday, and there's a life drawing class on Saturday, and I'm going to go draw for I'm going to go pose for a life drawing class. And so guess what she'd been looking forward to uh, for her 18th birthday. So I was like, okay, good for you. And so she she was really kind of funny, and she there were a couple models like this in between when we were on break or something like that. She wouldn't put her clothes back on. She'd just run around talking to people and everything. And the guy that ran the thing would get like go put something on. I don't know why that wigged him out when we were looking at her all day long, but that somehow seemed inappropriate to him, and so and the rest of us were amused at his distress. So, um, but she wouldn't put anything on. She'd run around naked, and then she like even after it was over, like the class was over and people were just putting things away and cleaning up and hanging out and talking. She was just still hanging out. She was still naked, and she told my friend that I carpooled with a lady, and she didn't tell me, but she told her that that was just her favorite thing in the world was to be naked. So it was an ideal job to to get paid to do that because she really liked to do that. Victor says, "I get distressed when you take and wipe and smudge the drawing, then you make it much better than before." yeah, you gotta suck it up sometimes and just go with that. Didn't really work, even though there's something about it you really like, and that just not quite good, and you just wipe it out and do something else, and you know usually you'll be happy you did, and then sometimes you'll go, oh man, that sucks, and that's life. That's the good part about it is that I've got a whole bunch of these. So I do occasionally do something that just didn't work, and I think, man, that is so wrong. But it's just not a big deal. It's not a big deal to have to change it or have to throw it away and get a different one. It's all right. Put your belly button back in the right place. Looking at the picture that I had that's got this costume, and I liked the costume, except I didn't draw any boots. So I'm gonna have to run off and find a pair of boots that I like in one of my other pictures. But that'll be in a minute. Um, Sometimes I do something like this, and I'm like, okay, I made a decent looking uh, pair of metal breast cups, and I just move on. I just go on and do something else, and I don't think about the fact that her nipple's still showing through the breast cup, and then people think I'm trying to say that the metal breast cup is transparent or something like that, and I'm just like, no, I just forgot. I just didn't do it. Yeah, I don't know if that improves anything. Okay, let me go find some boots. They were cool. For the most part, I'm making this stuff up, but sometimes I do see something in well, sometimes there's a fancy boot, like a cowboy boot, or something that's just got something like that, some decorative thing, and I start drawing it, and then I start, I just kind of springboard from there and do more, exaggerate something that they did. So copy it whole cloth. Not that I'm above that. I just start getting crazy ideas and start changing things. But also, sometimes I'll just see, I don't know, like some ancient Persian carving, and maybe it wasn't even footwear. Maybe it was just some decoration on the corner of a sculpture or something like that. And I just kind of go, that's pretty cool. And I start using that design uh, on something else, on a costume or, on something completely unrelated. Um, just do that. The little breast cup could certainly have a nipple hammered into it or something. I saw a girl wearing stuff like that at, well, a couple girls at Comic Con one year. I stopped and talked to them, asked questions about their costumes. It was a booth of very expensive things, but you could buy costumes that looked a lot like some of the stuff I draw. It was pretty neat. Incidentally, I am living for the day that I go to a convention and I see somebody running around in Ned the Barbarian cosplay. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. That is a life goal of mine, a lifetime desire to see somebody running around in Ned the Barbarian cosplay. She still looks like a little kid. I don't know if I should do something about that or just roll with it. It could be an interesting story element if the person on the throne is very young. Things happen. Lots of things happen. I knew a guy. He was in a foreign country. Dr. Eldritch was in his own costume, so yeah, yeah. Um, I knew a guy who was a Mormon boy, and he was off in some foreign country on his mission. And they went to somebody's house, apartment, to talk to them about whatever the hell it is missionaries talk about to people. And it was a family. It wasn't in Asia, but there was a family, and then there was an Asian gal living with them, middle-aged lady, and or I don't know what age she was. I should take that back. But not a child, not super young. But she was living there with him, and he was asking her something, who she was or whatever. And see, uh, she said, I'm the princess of Cambodia. And he said, oh, really? Uh, Probably thinking, you know, and I'm the Tsar of Russia. What a coincidence. But she got up and she walked over to the broom closet. Now, mind you, this is a apartment like any apartment you've ever visited. She walked over to the closet, the coat closet, uh, opened the door, and there was a crown about the size of a human being. Um, and it was just completely made of gold and gems and other things, and there was other costume pieces in there, and she was on an ambassador mission from Cambodia when Pol Pot took over, and she couldn't go home because she would be killed, and so she was in a foreign country working in a grocery store and living with some people that put her up, and and there was like enough money in this closet, like you could like pull a gem off of this crown and buy an apartment complex of your own. And he said, why are you living like this? And she said, well, this doesn't really belong to me, it belongs to Cambodia, so I'm just waiting for the day that I can go home. And that's all of that story that I know, or that he knows. Cambodia's uh, more stable than it was under Pol Pot, but I think hell is more stable than it was than Cambodia under Pol Pot. But anyway, I don't know what happens at the end of that story, but the moral is when you meet a middle-aged lady working in a grocery store and she tells you she's a princess, don't scoff. She might be. Um, so yeah, yeah, that's what happened. Evan says he would love to see some Dr. Eldritch cosplay. I think that would be cool. That'd be super cool. I would take that really as a huge piece of validation if you were uh, people were cosplaying your character. I think that would be awesome. On the other hand, I read a story about the creator of some anime thing, um, and he was at a convention with his original art and his early work and stuff. And he was an old dude, um, and despite having made this thing, he was an old dude, and there was a lot of young kids at Comic Con, and a couple tables down from him was a cosplayer playing one of his characters and selling prints of photographs of her in her sexy outfit, and she was standing there getting a picture taken with people, and he describes just sitting there all alone watching a cosplayer of his work, uh, getting all the attention that he once got. So I don't know. Maybe we don't want cosplayers, but I do. I would love to see a cosplay. It is so hard to resolve what's happening with that. It's just sitting there, and that loincloth thing is sitting there. Huh. I'm really not liking that. What I don't like about it, well, maybe the problem is her belly button. I don't know. I don't have a reference photo for her, which is surprising given who the model was, but I don't have a photo. This really should be. Maybe I did that wrong. The thing is, there's a center line. It's the center of her ribs, the center of her upper belly, and then the center of her belly and the center. And that and that should be equidistant, which means this little dangly thing, whatever it is, should be over here, and her belly button should be there. And even if she's twisting in some way that kind of makes that not real, it doesn't look right. So I'm twisting her back, twisting her some way to make it work. That's a little better. I like all the parts and I don't like the whole. there's something awkward about the picture as a whole, and that happens from time to time. There's not a nice flow to it. Like here's the last time I drew this image. Let's see if this even works. Pick up the computer. Turn this around. The last time I drew this, God, last time I drew this costume, the model is a different model, and she was sitting. There was something elegant and lovely about that pose. She's got her chin and she's got her elbow on her knee, and her legs are crossed, and she's leaning forwards. And there's something just intriguing and inviting about that. And this girl's just kind of like, ah, and there's something redneck and awkward looking about this pose compared to that pose. Even though the costume's the same, it doesn't make it the same. And yeah, but that's what it is. That's what it is. And we're sort of out of time. And Sharon, I think, is there. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Sharon. Everybody say happy birthday, Sharon. Sharon ate some purple cake today. That looks weird and kind of wonderful. I'm going to go eat some cake tomorrow in your honor. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll be back again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. All right. Bye bye.